Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Rob Font to defeat Pedro Munoz. And I'm here to talk about Cesar Almeida taking on Roman Kopylov. All right. My prediction for this fight is Cesar Almeida wins. I guess I'd go with a decision, but a TKO would not surprise me because he's a very good kickboxer. But I haven't bet on this fight because I am still shell shocked from Waldo Cortez Acosta ripping Rebellis de Spain to the mat and neutralizing him. I said the same thing about Waldo that I'm going to say about Roman Kopylov here, that I'm sure he's better on the ground than his pure kickboxer opponent, but I don't think he's good enough on the ground to impose himself. Not to go through his opponent in one round with dominant grappling and not to rip him to the mat consistently and control him and neutralize him with wrestling. I totally got that wrong when Waldo fought Rebellis de Spain. Did I say Fort? He fought him. But I think Roman's better. I'm assuming Roman is better on the ground. And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me at all if it's in his game plan, if it's game plan A to rip him to the mat. But I still don't have enough faith in his grappling to think he can get that done or he can do that against Cesar Almeida, especially when Cesar Almeida is proven at a lower level, but still proven every step of the way to have more grappling than meets the eye and to be good at getting up and even good at taking over the fight on the ground like he did against Lucas Fernando or whatever on the Contender Series, where it wasn't like he was working him like Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, but he knew enough to uh, overwhelm his opponent on the ground, advance to mount, and even looked like he could have choked him at one point. But he's a guy that definitely is learning as he goes along here. Even if he's got more than meets the eye, I don't think he's got enough in him to offer any threat to Roman Kopylov, who is weak on the ground as well. Kopylov has lost a few times, three times, all in the UFC, twice by submission. Uh, he lost to Anthony Fluffy Hernandez in his last fight, and Fluffy is a nightmare matchup for somebody like Kopylov, and believe me, for somebody like Cesar Almeida as well. A nightmare matchup. As opposed to Kopylov, who without any grappling is one of the more stylistically favorable matchups that's out there for Cesar Almeida, as far as the top 20 middleweights go or whatever. I don't know what he's ranked. But uh, Kopylov was submitted by Anthony Fluffy Hernandez and Carl Roberson as well. Carl Roberson got him out of there in round three with a rear naked choke. Roberson, just a guy with really good overall offense. And Roberson really beat him up on the feet, especially in round two, was chopping him down with kicks. And it's not like Kopylov got chopped down or got knocked out of the fight, but he was slowed down, beaten up a little bit, and then at the very end of round three, he was taken down and submitted, like instantly. But on the feet, he also got beaten up a little bit by Albert Duraev. Really got beaten up on the ground in round two, dominated on the ground. But in round one, he lost a kickboxing bout, in my opinion. He was a step and a half behind Albert Duraev, who was firing on all cylinders and just really outworked him and cleanly outlanded him. And then Kopylov dropped him in like the first 5 seconds of round two before letting the fight slip away with the grappling. And then, at round three, he came alive again. But that's beside the point. I don't want to fucking overwhelm you with the details. But Kopylov's had his share of losses, but to very good fighters, and uh, not one of them was able to knock him out. And the guys that went through him and got a finish got it on the ground deep into the fight, which should not be a path to victory for Cesar Almeida. So maybe he'd be the one arguing this is a favorable matchup for him. But I still think on the feet, if these guys are caught kickboxing, despite Kopylov being an excellent kickboxer, and again, emphasis on the kick, the guy gets kick knockouts in rounds 2, 3, even 4 to the head or the body or whatever. He's a very dangerous fighter, but he's going up against a guy who is a much better kickboxer. Cesar Almeida, first of all, is just as healthy, despite being a few years older. He's 36 here, but He's never been knocked out, and he's had plenty of losses in kickboxing, two of which come to Alex Pereira. He beat him twice, and he didn't get knocked out when Pereira beat him. So I trust the durability of Cesar Almeida to stand up to strikes anyway. And I think he would also be, in general, the sharper striker. He may not be as fast as somebody like Albert Duraev or as fast as somebody like Carl Roberson, but the guy knows how to protect himself, and everything he throws is thudding. He's got a lot more dangerous strikes than any of those guys, although Roberson was very sharp when he was on. So I think this will be an interesting fight. I'd love to see Kopylov win with the grappling, and I think he will at least try to win with grappling, but I don't think he's going to be able to have success like Waldo Cortez Acosta did against Rebelis de Spain. I think in the end, we're left with a kickboxing bout, and Kopylov may be a little quicker and have more movement and, some more athletic kicks going on, but I still think he does get the worst of kickboxing bout against Cesar Almeida. So that is the pick. Cesar Almeida wins by decision, and the bet does not exist. I am shell shocked here. I am sitting back and just watching this one, and I guess kind of rooting for Kopylov. But you know what? If Cesar Almeida wins, things could get interesting. He's in the right division, where he could fight Adesanya, and he's not far off from fighting Pereira. And I feel like that's got to be the reasoning in the UFC making this matchup. They see a potentially stylistically favorable matchup for Cesar Almeida, and maybe the promotion is rooting for him. So we'll see what happens. Hope it's a good fight. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.